Middleweight champion Israel Adesanya is training hard ahead of his highly anticipated showdown against the dominant Alex Pereira. The Nigerian is said to have been reaching new peaks at the UFC 281 fight camp. And while Izzy is ready for his sixth title defense, former lightweight champion Frankie Edgar has decided to hang up the gloves after UFC 281. Keep watching this video for more about New York City's action-packed event. First up, it's not going to be like last time. Despite having already defended his title 5 times, Izzy is surprisingly not the favorite going into this fight. He's cleared an entire division, and there's only one man left in his path, the dangerous Alex Pereira. Now, there are a few things here. Why is the Brazilian still the favorite, even though he has less experience at UFC? Well, both these guys have fought each other in the past. They've squared off twice, with Pereira winning on both occasions. And since he has a reputation for knocking Izzy out, he's the favorite going into this fight. Or look at it this way, he's the clear favorite because he's done the impossible. He's put the Nigerian to sleep. An entire division of dominant fighters has failed to do what Alex has done twice. But regardless of their history, Izzy claims it will not be like last time. The last time Stylebender said he's come a long way as a fighter and has rebirthed himself into an unbeatable warrior. If you watch some of our videos in the past, you probably remember when we talked about how Adesanya has evolved so much after his UFC debut. He's the division's king right now, and if Alex continues to underestimate his opponent ahead of their showdown in New York City, we think he might end up landing in some serious trouble. Izzy has also promised to have fun and not let history get to him. The last time Stylebender claims he's at best when he's having fun inside the cage. Next, explosive training. Is it just us, or have training camps started to get intense? Almost every champion at the UFC wants to take a couple of months off after a fight because of such a tiring and draining camp. And no matter how much support you have, it wears you out as a fighter. Only the toughest and most disciplined of fighters can survive such grueling camps. But when it comes to Izzy, it's like he's right where he belongs. The last Stylebender has seriously upped his training camp as he goes through some brutal and explosive regimes. He's been working closely with the team to enhance his skills and reach new peaks. And no, he's not dodging tennis balls anymore. He's taking things to the next level as he finally looks to add that much-needed knockout power. Adesanya has always been criticized for not having enough explosiveness to fold his opponents, but after watching his UFC 281 training camp, we think it'll be a different story on the night of action. He's been chucking huge medicine balls, doing explosive jumping squats, and even cracking bones to open up his body. And don't get confused by the last part. We meant he's been making frequent trips to the chiropractor to ensure his body is loose and in rhythm. On the 12th of November, there hasn't been a lot of discussion on whether he's mixed up his training routine, but judging from what we've seen so far, it seems like he's been working on adding more sting to his strikes. Moving on, is Pereira underestimating the champion? Whether you like him or not, he's the undisputed champion of one of the toughest divisions in the promotion. He fought guys like Whitaker, Costa, Romero, and Cannonier to reach the top of the mountain. And if you ask us, that's a really impressive resume. And honestly speaking, we're a bit confused about how fans and analysts are writing him off so easily. Sure, Alex might have knocked him out twice in the past. He might have more striking power and skill, but this is the champ we're talking about. He's come a long way from his kickboxing days. And if Pereira continues to underestimate him, it might cost him the title. The last Stylebender has nothing to prove. Alex has to step up and show us why he's worthy of getting the title shot after 3 wins at the promotion. Shouldn't Patty be getting a title shot then? Or what about Beneil? If Dana is giving him a shot at gold after 3 fights, then the Brazilian needs to rise to the occasion. Even if Adesanya focused on playing defense and scoring enough points to win by decision, it'd still be an acceptable victory. He's been slammed in the past for putting on boring performances and playing it too safe, but that's exactly what he has to do. The Nigerian has already proved he's the undisputed champion, and he doesn't need to go out and be all flashy now. Following up, a blessing in disguise. We've said this before, guys, and we'll say it again. Knowing when to hang up the gloves is a blessing in disguise. These guys are warriors. Their mind and body can take serious beatings, but it'll eventually start to catch up to them. And we get that they want to go out with a bang by winning a UFC title, but sometimes sometimes you have to accept that the fighting days are over. The body can no longer take the damage. And speaking of retirement, we think it's the perfect time for former lightweight champion Frankie Edgar to hang up the gloves. He's nearing 41 years old now, and stepping inside the cage with guys much younger than you is a death wish. Frankie isn't who he was 5 years ago, and while we're glad that he understands that, seeing him say goodbye to the promotion is still sad. He's one of those guys who's had a huge presence at the UFC, and along with achieving gold, he's also been very popular among fans. We're going to miss him, but yeah, his decision to retire after 281 is the best thing we've heard from him for a long time. Take notes, Tony. We think it's time you hung up the gloves too. Up next, done being selfish. Edgar has a really interesting approach to retirement. He knows his body and mind will eventually give in, but that's not exactly why he's retiring. The former lightweight champion thinks he's selfish since his family needs him now. If he continues chasing his goals, he'll miss out on spending quality time with his kids and wife. The 41-year-old also talked about how his kids have their own goals now and how he wants to be a part of them. I think now I'm being selfish when I'm still trying to chase this, and I've got a family and kids that want to have their own goals. Many fighters fail to realize it's time to hang up the gloves, and we get it. These guys are super athletes, capable of going on for years and years. But the thing is, brain damage is real. Forgetfulness, slurred speech, mobility issues. It's real. And after taking so many repeated hits to the thinker, it sort of gets to you. Frankie said he doesn't just want to be a part of his family's goals. He wants to be able to speak and have all his wits too. Credit to Edgar for putting his family in front of his career. The MMA world will never forget what he's done for the game. Last but not least, it's a factor. Speaking of brain damage, Frankie did what most fighters are still afraid to do. He talked about his fear of brain damage. The 41-year-old said that while it isn't a major reason for announcing retirement, it's still a factor. Believe it or not, Edgar still thinks he can go on for a couple of years, but it'll mess him up. He hasn't experienced any effects of brain damage yet, but the former champ said he doesn't want to wake up one day and realize he can't talk properly. Frankie also said that he feels really good for 41, but the fighting sometimes catches up to him. He can go hard at camps and still has the warrior mindset, but sometimes he doesn't feel too coherent. So yeah, better late than never. We're glad UFC 281 will be his last appearance inside the cage, and despite being a former light heavyweight champion, he's taking on bantamweight fighter Chris Gutierrez on November 12th. Let's see how things play out for him. We're hoping he goes out with a bang, with one final W to his name. That's it from our side, folks. So what do you think? How will UFC 281 play out? Will we see a new middleweight champion? Let us know in the comments below. Remember, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more exciting videos in the future. Thanks for watching, guys, and we'll see you next time.